This video discusses sensitive topics including homophobia, manipulation, and the exploitation of serious controversies. It also references the actions of a developer involved in a criminal case involving minors. Viewer discretion is advised.
Once upon a time, there was an egg named Flumpty. At first glance, he seemed honest, faithful, and completely harmless. Just another content creator trying to make his mark. But as we peel back the layers of his shell, we uncover a story so twisted, so absurd, it's hard to believe it's real. This is the story of Flumpty Bumpty, a name stolen from a controversial game developer now in prison for pedophilia, and a persona built on toxicity, hypocrisy, and a complete lack of self-awareness.
Good evening, folks. Tonight we bring you a tale of harassment, bigotry, and one very egotistical user. That user is Flumpty Bumpty. Yes, you heard me right, Flumpty Bumpty. He's been accused for a series of heinous acts, from petty comments to saying that he would execute all gay people. Believe it or not, it's not even as bad as another claim he made. But let's start at the beginning, with Johnny's first encounter with this infamous user, shall we?
I'm not going to lie. It all started pretty rough, honestly. I joined a casual SCP server in which I became a translator, moderator, and a content creator. That's when I met him. Flumpty and I were just two of a few content creators in that SCP server. I guess Flumpty wasn't happy with sharing the stage. When I came around and started posting content, he began questioning the server owner about technicalities, as if he's trying to push me out of my role. And strangely enough, it was only directed towards me. He was saying, what's the minimum subscriber count? What's the minimum viewer count? He even tried to disqualify me for not posting only SCP related content. Funny thing is that the other creators there were also posting other casual things than SCP genre games. I ultimately believed he was targeting me. I do not understand how and why can one user be that desperate to boot off a random guy like me. But Flumpty's true colors soon emerged. He began making homophobic comments, statements that were outright against the server's rules, and honestly, even against Discord's terms of service. Despite multiple warnings, he just refused to stop. Week-long timeouts didn't faze him at all. It was clear. Flumpty was never going to change. But then the community had enough. Finally, the community had enough. Flumpty was finally banned. But did he take responsibility? Of course not. He cried to the server owner, claiming the moderators were abusing their powers. Then, the ban was revoked. Classic deflection. But wait, there's more. Flumpty isn't just a toxic YouTuber, he's also a hypocritical one. He claims to be bound by the Bible, quoting Leviticus to justify his homophobia. Yet his actions often contradicts the very teaching he claims to follow. Love thy neighbor? Not Flumpty. Judge not, lest ye be judged? Definitely not Flumpty. It seems like his Bible is missing a few pages, no? Or maybe he's just cherry-picking the verses that suits his agenda. And then there's Flumpty's unique take on homophobia. I have minor homophobia, he claims. If I was really homophobic, I'd actively be mean to gay people. Aha, yes, excuse me, because ignoring and dissociating from people is just minor homophobia. Flumpty, your logic is as cracked as your shell. Now, if you think this wasn't stupid enough, Flumpty's logic reached new heights of absurdity when he claimed Ignorance is okay, but discrimination and insults are not. That is rich, very rich coming from someone who openly admitted to minor homophobia. Despite numerous warnings, Flumpty continued to push the boundaries. Finally, the community and the server owner had no choice but to issue an ultimatum. Stop the beef, stop the insult, stop the homophobic comments, or face the consequences. But Flumpty, true to his form, couldn't help himself. He tried deleting his DMs, removing all evidence, thinking he could hide his actions. But as we all know, you cannot hide from a screenshot. And then, in a moment of rare self-awareness, Flumpty apologized. Yep, you heard me. He finally apologized. I'm sorry, he said. I've made some poor choices. But before anyone could breathe a sigh of relief, he doubled down. Seriously? So I can't even say I'm homophobic? Is that the rule now? Flumpty, your apologies are as hollow as your shell. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the egg in the room. Flumpty's name isn't just a quirky choice. It's a direct reference to Flumpty Bumpty, a character from the popular indie horror game One Night at Flumpty's. But here's where things take a dark turn.
News just came in that the creator of One Night at Flumpty's, Jonochrome, was exposed for engaging in a romantic relationship with a 13-year-old girl when he was 21 years old. This relationship lasted for 5 years, during which Jonochrome discussed inappropriate topics with the minor. When the victim finally ended the relationship, Jonochrome admitted to everything, confirming the allegations himself. The gaming community was horrified, and Jonochrome's reputation was irreparably shattered.
And here's where Flumpty comes in. Despite the controversy surrounding Jonochrome, Flumpty chose to name himself after the character. When confronted about this, Flumpty simply shrugged it off, saying he doesn't care about the controversy. In fact, he even admitted that he chose a name because Jonochrome couldn't sue him, since he's in prison. Flumpty's decision to associate himself with such a controversial figure is not just tone deaf. It's just downright disturbing and disgusting. It raises questions about his moral compass. Was he trying to capitalize on the notoriety of the game? Or was he simply too careless to care about the implications of his actions? Either way, it's a stain on his already tarnished reputation. But Flumpty's reign of chaos didn't end there. After a year with little to no contact with the egg after being banned from the server, he turned his attention to his own members. Yes, the very people who supported him were about to become his next victims. Flumpty, now feeling the pressure of his crumbling reputation, began lashing out at his own members. Despite the passage of time, Flumpty's behavior only worsened. A year later, his server was in shambles, and the once thriving community had dwindled. But one by one, Flumpty's members began to leave. They had enough of his toxic behavior, his constant blame shifting, and his refusal to take responsibility. Once a loyal supporter was the first one to leave, unable to tolerate the growing toxicity. Behind Flumpty's chaos was Mark, a trusted insider who saw the truth. Loyalty turned into an illusion as he documented Flumpty's toxic reign. Now I'll let the stage to Mark.
Hello.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am very good. So today, we are here with Mark to interview what happened with Flumpty and all the controversies around him. So, my first question to you, sir, how did you meet Flumpty?
So, right, I met Flumpty, SCP Containment Breach server, just like you. And I was a little intrigued, right? Because, like, other YouTuber, he looked pretty cool and all. So, I see as a Discord server, I see his YouTube. His YouTube channel looks pretty nice. It's like SCP Containment Breach content, no voice, just like, the subtitles. Made me feel about like early YouTube. So
Right.
I joined his Discord, and it seems pretty chill. He seems like a pretty nice guy. The only funny thing was he had like 1,000 channels on that Discord server, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. How did you perceive him?
So at first he was like cool and all, right? But then I was reading through the rules, and some of them were a little weird, right? Like the biggest one obviously was no gay or trans people allowed, and then his profile, like his bio, read professional homophobe or something,
Yeah,
which was a little
that
suspicious.
yeah, that's a lot of red flags. I'm
As I
sorry.
keep like advancing in the server, he starts to get a little crazy. So there are some people, I'm not gonna say their names for privacy reasons, who were found out to be gay or trans. And then Flumpty like got so ticked off at this, he just banned them instantly without warning.
That's
And
crazy.
someone jokingly said, well, I'm gay. But like, jokingly. But Flumpty didn't take that jokingly. He instantly banned the person.
Earlier in my DMs, you were talking about a sticky note. Can you elaborate further on that?
Oh yeah, so Flumpty made a new server recently because the old one kind of got too bloated in a way.
Right.
So I guess his grandpa went into surgery and he luckily recovered. But Flumpty made a really odd note to me. He said, congratulations, you survived another surgery. You will live another day from Flumpty Bumpty. Which I thought was a little strange to say, you will live another day. Because I just thought that interpreted a little strangely. And then he used Flumpty Bumpty instead of his real name. It's just a little weird though. Like, how's his grandpa supposed to know who Flumpty Bumpty is?
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to bring into this special interview?
No, not really. I just think he needs to reevaluate life a little bit.
Right. Well, thank you, Mark, for your presence here. Your help is extremely useful to solve this. So I
Yes.
will thank you and wish you a good rest of your day.
Thank you, sir.
So this concludes the documentary of this exceptional fella. Now that he's hard-boiled, he's planning to delete his server most likely to get rid of the evidence. But since he fell off a wall down to the bottom, he's not getting back up. I hope you enjoyed this serious type of video, and please don't go harass or get into contact with him. We've already dealt with enough of this child show. So see you next time. Take care.